My name is Christopher Chamberlain. I'm the Chief Creative Officer at Neoglyphic Entertainment, and this is our awesome piece that we did. It's really kind of cool. This piece was one of our first pieces that we did, and while we're making a mobile game and a VR experience, we also wanted to make sure we established a beautiful world with a cool IP, and kind of got that all set in stone before we started building all of these other extraneous experiences. And so this was actually one of the first ones that we did that was just trying to establish what the world would look like. And we submitted a couple, and I'm just super flattered that you guys accepted one. Typically how we're inspired to make our art is, what I like to do is, because I do mostly art direction over the past 10 years. And so I kind of love to explore everything, and I really love to try things that are new. There'll be times where it'll be like, let's just do some things out of squares, or do triangle shapes or round shapes, and then getting into color. Man, the main character of this world that we created, actually, at one point I went and did a primary, secondary, and tertiary color palette for the character, and then went 5 degrees, 5 degrees, 5 degrees, and then we just lined them all up, and we discussed them all, and everybody was like, what do you like best about this one? You know what I mean? So I personally love to explore everything, and then kind of find, obviously you don't want to just do a committee design, but I love to hear everybody's feedback, because it really helps influence not only what I want, but what makes other people happy. Personal inspirations, I grew up with a huge comic book fan, so that actually was what started my art career. I thought I was going to be a comic book artist until I realized how boring it is to draw somebody eating a sandwich in a bunch of square frames on a page of paper. But early on, it was people like Jim Lee. I've got, sadly, but I'm still proud that I loved him at one point, was Boris Vallejo. He was one of my very first fantasy inspirations. All the way up to Frank Miller. I've got a lot of actual comic love of art, but then some of them that crossed over a bit, like Frank Frazetta, where he did a bit of both and really influenced a lot in both mediums. 2 big games I'm playing right now, Overwatch and League of Legends. And man, I've been playing League of Legends. I'm such a wannabe esports pro, and I'm terrible. And so, but it doesn't stop the fact that I love having fun and playing with my friends. I mostly do it instead of going to the basketball court like a lot of normal humans do. I'll just sit down at a computer for 2 hours and play with my cousin and my friends. And man, ever since Overwatch has come out, though, goodbye free time. So if I had any tips to give people on how to get into art direction or the creative field of the games industry, I think it would be, for me, it was I sort of found something I was super passionate about and tried to get really good at that, and then I tried to break it. You know what I mean? I tried to do something that was kind of out of the norm, and you fail most of the time, and you get a lot of feedback of people saying how bad it is. But man, you really learn, and even with those learning experiences, even if a fraction of the thing that you did terrible it can be carried on, is great. And then as for, that kind of goes with the creative side of things too. I mean, I really try to, oddly, I think Blizzard does a very good job where they'll take an established something that is pretty good, and then they just add their own little spin and twist on it, and then just polish. Always make sure that it's polished, whether it's an art piece, whether it's a video game, you know what I mean? It really comes through, and it really shows, because some of the most successful companies out there are the ones that spend their time doing it right. I'm Danger Chamber on Twitter, and then oddly my middle name's Danger, which I love to drop that info every time I can get. And then also you can go to sunbornrising.com, which is our IP, and then Neoglyphic Entertainment.